Since the 1700s, academic books, business schools, and everyone in between have told us that if you want a better deal, you have to negotiate it. No one is just going to give it to you. But have we been wrong all this time? Can we actually get a better result by refusing to negotiate? In 1716, French diplomat François de Caleres wrote the world's first book on negotiation. It was titled On the Manners of Negotiating with Princes, and was the first text to illustrate the benefits of negotiating and how the fate of countries depend on the skill of their negotiators. Since then, business schools, consultants, writers, almost everyone has been telling us that negotiation is a core skill in order to get a better deal. And here are some interesting facts to prove this point. Every year, more than 2,000 books relating to the topic of negotiation are released on the online book retailer Amazon. And every day, there are more than 100,000 searches on Google about the topic of negotiation. And as of July 2015, according to Google, there's more than 27 million articles relating to negotiation on the internet. If you want to do a course on negotiation, it'll cost you around $12,000 for a 3-day course at one of the leading universities in the US. But is it as powerful as we think? One of the reasons why people like negotiation is that for a relatively small investment in time, a significant return can be gained. And just think about negotiating your salary. A little preparation and a 5-minute conversation can sometimes turn into thousands of dollars per year for no additional future effort. So why is it that businesses are doing everything they can to avoid negotiating? Shouldn't they really be trying to negotiate everything? If you think about it, businesses try to do everything they can to avoid negotiating. They break up their unions in their workforce, they try to ensure that they have multiple options for their suppliers, and they try to create more demand for their products and services than they can supply. So in reality, businesses don't want to negotiate, they just want to have options. Negotiation, as defined by the Oxford Dictionary, is a discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. And Harvard's program on negotiation describes negotiation as a deliberate process between two or more actors to seek a solution to a common issue, or who are bartering over the value of an item. In simple terms, negotiation is really a discussion that both parties need to have to better both parties' position. For example, a policeman has to negotiate with someone who has taken a hostage and is surrounded by police. The policeman and the hostage taker need to negotiate, because if they don't, there are serious consequences for both of them. A company has to negotiate with their employees' unions, because if their employees strike, then the employees don't get any money and the company loses money. Or if a country is at war with another country, both countries need to negotiate, because if they don't, people on both sides will continue to die and both countries are going to continue to spend money on warfare. Therefore, one could say that negotiation is a discussion where, if that discussion doesn't happen and there is no agreement, no one wins. And therefore, everything else is merely selecting the best option available. However, in business, we're often lazy and see only one option and then try to negotiate. Often this is with disastrous consequences. Think of the story of Pete. Pete's unemployed and has just been offered a job. He tries then to negotiate his salary up, but his potential employee says no and then retracts the job offer. Pete is left with no job and no other options. Pete tried to negotiate, but it wasn't really a negotiation scenario. Whilst this employer may or may not have done the right thing, they didn't need to negotiate, so they didn't. Some of you that have done some negotiation training might have said, isn't this just creating a BATNA? The BATNA, being the best alternative to a negotiated agreement, is a term created by Roger Fisher and William Ury in their award-winning book, Getting to Yes. And you'd be right. Fisher and Ury proposed that you should have an alternative when trying to negotiate. We should have a fallback position. However, what I'm saying is that you really don't need to negotiate if you have enough alternatives. What you might not know is that you can often get a better result by not negotiating, but instead creating a situation where your alternatives actively compete against each other for your money, for your services, or your products. These situations are called auctions, and there's a whole branch of economics called auction theory dedicated. So if you think about auctions carefully, people sell a house or a car via an auction because they get a better deal than negotiating with each of the potential buyers, and they are not limited to what they think is a good or great deal. All you need to do is just see the faces on those reality TV show contestants, the ones that renovate a house and the contestants get the profits when the house goes to auction. They sometimes get deals far beyond what they imagined. Auctions were designed because they're often more efficient than negotiating directly, and people will bid up to what they believe it's worth. not what you believe it is worth. The typical type of auction is strictly called an English auction, but there are many types of auctions. For example, there is a reverse auction or tenders, which are often used by procurement departments. And Google uses a specific type of auction called the second price auction for getting people to pay advertising on their various platforms. In this second price auction, people bid for an advertising space, but the highest bidder pays the bid offered by the second highest bidder. The word auction is just a name given to a game where the players compete amongst themselves for a desired outcome. And the outcome is what the person who designs the auction really wants. The key word here is game. The reason why there are many different types of auctions is that the game is changed in order to generate the desired outcome based on the situation the person implementing the game finds themselves in. The famous American writer Sidney Sheldon once wrote, "Business is a game played for fantastic stakes, and you're in competition with experts. If you want to win, you have to learn how to be a master of the game." Being a master of the game means changing the rules of the game so you can get the results that you want. In order to get the best deal, we can change the game by deciding to use a specific auction technique or no auction at all. Therefore, by creating the right game, we can avoid negotiating and getting a better result quicker and faster. Real estate agents do this all the time in order to get a better result for their clients. They help their clients decide what's the best market engagement strategy they can employ to get the best deal. What a good real estate agent is really saying is, what is the best game we can play? However, what a great real estate agent says is, what's the best game we can get others to play? Therefore, the majority of the time, getting a better deal in business isn't about negotiating better. Getting a better deal is about establishing a game where others can play off against each other to deliver what you most desire. Therefore, if we want better deals, we should be investing more of our time in teaching people how to think about how businesses play games, how people behave rationally and irrationally and respond to others that they are competing against, and how to design a game that will deliver what we are really looking for. So the next time you're thinking that you need to negotiate something, instead think, now what is the best game that I should be playing here?